Welcome back to The Morning Blend. Our next guest writes about a very personal topic. It is a book about her own journey through grief. Her daughter died suddenly, then she found out she had a brain tumor. Now she wants to help others.
Susan Angel Miller wrote this book. It's called Permission to Thrive: My Journey from Grief to Growth. And Susan joins us now here with more on her book and suggestions about how you can express empathy to people who you know are going through loss. What a great idea to write this book. Good to see you.
Thank you very much.
Wonderful to meet you.
Yeah, I think this is just fascinating and kind of why you took your own experience and this whole idea of grief to growth and permission to thrive. We talk a lot about, I think, as women and as people in general, giving ourselves permission to do anything, but to thrive is something that became so important to you.
Well, especially after you experienced a parent's worst nightmare, which is losing your child. And we lost Laura very suddenly, and we were devastated. And then you realize that you have to go on living, and we had to parent 2 other children, and you just realize this happened, but we didn't want to be miserable for the rest of our lives. And when I found out that there was a term called post-traumatic growth, it really changed my mindset.
What does that mean? Yeah, because I hadn't heard that term before, post-traumatic growth.
Right, they're lovely words together, aren't they?
Yeah.
Well, I say it's like a little bit like post-traumatic stress, except that both can go together at the same time, actually. Post-traumatic growth is when you gain compassion or more gratitude, you get deeper connections to people, you have more meaning and purpose in life. And those are things that the majority of people experience after experience a trauma. And we all experience traumas in our life.
Yeah, and I love the idea that there's sort of this parallel, or that both can coexist, this idea of joy and sorrow. And we have a picture right next to Tiff here of your 3 daughters. So the one on our left, it would be here, she's in the green sweatshirt. It was your oldest daughter you lost.
Her name Laura. She was at Nicolay High School. She was a freshman.
And she was 14.
She was 14.
And she died suddenly.
She had headaches for a couple of weeks, and then we rushed her to the hospital when she had a seizure. And by the end of the next day, that day, she was on life support. It was very sudden, and it's a rare childhood brain tumor.
I think so many people feel guilt, or they feel their own sort of like, why didn't I know, why didn't I see? And I'm sure that's part of the process. And then you dealt with a brain tumor.
It's hard to believe. It's stranger than fiction.
Yeah.
3 years after she died, we were getting back to normalcy, and I started having my own headaches in the middle of the night and the early morning, and that's one of the symptoms I've learned of brain tumors. Sometimes the headaches occur at night in the early morning.
Huh.
Yeah. So.
No, your other daughters are how old now?
One, Sarah, on the end, is 22 and lives in New York City, and then Rachel is a GW, and she is 19.
Unbelievable. Now, your daughter in the middle there works a lot with organ donations, because after Laura died, you made the difficult but beautiful decision to donate her organs, and someone I know walking around is very thankful that you made that decision.
Yes, it's actually the daughter all the way on the right.
Oh, on
Sarah.
the right.
That's okay. But yes, when we were asked to donate Laura's organs the day that we learned that she had died, and it was a decision that probably has been the most meaningful decision of our entire experience. Her liver was flown out to New York and saved a woman who was 40 years old and a special education teacher. And we've now met her 4 or 5 times. And
that's her right there?
She is so special to us, and she's doing great. She's just doing great, and we just love communicating with her and having a really special relationship. And it seems like part of Laura is still living because of her.
I just want to make the point that a lot of people, parents' worst nightmare is losing a child. But what I love about your book and your concept is that even though society expects that you are going to be devastated, which you were, but that you would go on to have a miserable remainder of your life, but that you are not only thriving, but experiencing joy, and want to let people know that despite how much you loved her and how much you lost, you're going on in joy.
It's
absolutely,
okay.
Absolutely. And I really want to dispel the myth that your life can be good after a bad event happens. And you just have to realize it happened. And also, when you're dealing with other people who are experiencing grief, and everyone experiences grief, just to not be so awkward about, or not to worry if you're awkward about approaching someone. The key is just to do something. Don't ignore the people, because we loved our life before Laura died, and we had all of our friends, and we didn't want to lose those friends as well as losing Laura.
That's a great point. You've got an event coming up at Boswell Books where people can get a copy of your book, have it signed. It's Tuesday, February 19th at 7 o'clock, and then at Congregation Shalom on Thursday, the 28th at 7 o'clock. We'll be right back, so stay with us. Thank you so much.